Our honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and privilege to be here today with our guests. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me to share with you on integration of Naqli, the experience of faculty of dentistry in UC. Recently, we have this ground zero, or thoughts on these plant victims. May be bestowed with the resilience to revolt a better future. And talking about ground zero, we also started with a ground zero, almost ground zero, with no comparable. We don't have a model. We have data faculty, but we were asked to integrate, but we do not have a model that is compatible with our philosophy. And we were told, or we advised, because the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences have already conducted the program, we were advised to adopt several courses related to memorization of selected Quranic verses and fundamental Islamic knowledge. When we started, we have only, I was there for a few months, 2 to 3 months, then only 3 others joined me. Those are support staff, the secretary, the clerk, and the assistant administrative officer, registrar, and a few months later, 3-4 months later, 2 retirees joined us. And only later on, there was some we had to take from outside the Ministry of can release the staff, but we recruit them and we send it out for the postgraduate. And now we have reaped the benefits now. Now they are back, and now we are full steam. And so the aim of the presentation is to share our experience in the development of the curriculum of the Bachelor of Dental Surgery program at the Faculty of Dentistry, based on UCIM's model of integration Naqli and Aqli knowledge. So our focus will be on principles and concepts in curriculum development and the application of UCIM's model of integration in the dental degree programs. Development of curriculum is not new to me because I was in the dental training school Penang for many years. 4 times went to training school, in and out, and I've been helping the Ministry of the Training Division, Ministry of Health in development of other health programs, the curriculum development on the curriculum for these MAs, medical assistants, nurses, pharmacy, and the others. So when I came here, we look into the usual way of development and how we want to put in the Aqli and Naqli aspects of it. So first we think of what we want our students to do. Because I was in the Ministry of Health, I know from talking with all my other officers, then there are things that they told us they want to be. They want our graduates to be. One is that to be able to practice independently. They are autonomous. They have to make informed decisions with regards to treatment the patients need. And they must be safe dental practitioner. There's no malfeasance. First, do no harm. So they have to recognize their limitations so that they have to refer. Don't try to do it if they are unable to do it. They have to continue with be involved in continuing professional development, because they cannot, if they are behind in the knowledge and the skills, then they are not being good to the patients. The second is that be a safe dental practitioner is that first they have to be beneficial. They have to always think that do good. So all these aspects we are looking at patient safety as well as patient-centered care. Thirdly, then is that when looking at UC, we have to infuse, they want to have infused with Islamic values. So what are the principles then we ask ourselves in developing this curriculum? So we took note from this Alice in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll, something saying like, Alice asked the cat, where are we going? So the cat asked, if you do not know where you are going, you will end up nowhere. So I don't have any Islamic quotations here because at that time, I was from secular. So I had this condition. So then you have to look into that these are the things that came to our mind on what we are going to do. So first principle in our development principle is that we need to integrate Naqli and Aqli knowledge in teaching and learning. So how we do that? This is based on that philosophy of using, which we have heard many times. And two is that we research on what is the aim of Islamic education. The thing that came to us is that the first World Conference on Muslim Education, the first in 1997 at Mecca, and which is all quite similar to that soul of excellence in education, because it's talking about to be in this aim of an Islamic education is to make is produce a good person. Similar to that, must have the soul must be there. So in this case, in this aim of Islamic education, we extracted two areas, two principles. One principle is balanced growth. They must have balanced growth. Two, another principle from this aim of Islamic education is that complete submission to Allah. So we have here, principle 2 is to produce a good person. The goal of Islamic education is to produce a good person with following attributes. It's balance, intellectual, emotional, physical, social, and so on. And from there, we develop our own slogan. Slogan of fostering a balanced professional in dentistry. We balance that. And we say wasatya, which is quite similar to wasatya, which is justly balanced. That's how it is roughly what translated. Justly balanced. Balance is the of social, spiritual, physical, emotional, and intellectual. And we also look into this balance is if you are in medicine, we give drugs. Drugs must be optimal. Greatest benefit, minimum of side effects. So quite similar to this concept of wasatya. And third principle is belief in oneness of Allah. Is that man as servant to Allah, man as vicegerent of Allah. So that they have the individual vertical relations with Allah. That's the individual they have to do. There is the man and Allah, and the man and society. The man, they have the social responsibility to society. So they have to give back what they learn. They give back to society. And from there, we look into what are the attributes. From those principles, we develop the attributes. We look at, there are so many attributes, but we chose 10 attributes. One is scientifically knowledgeable, technically competent, biologically oriented. Biologically oriented is important because we have to make sure they understand they are dealing with people. They are not dealing with non-humans, with physical things. Biologically. And they must respect for human dignity. Quite similar to this, Islam also has been important on this human dignity. Socially sensitive, ethically responsible, professionally accountable, effective team member, able to work together with others, lifelong learner, and always uphold principles of oneness of Allah. That's one thing. Tawheed is important. Although it's down there, there is a foundation of our education. And these attributes, then we converted these attributes into program educational objectives, program learning outcome. So these are the program learning objectives. The first one says that scientifically knowledgeable, technically competent, and biologically oriented for safe and independent practice of dentistry, and so on. And they want to be professionally accountable, ethically responsible, and exceed Islamic conduct and values in provision of oral health care. And similarly with PLO, from there we develop our PLO, program learning outcome. And from there we go back, again we now go back, we proceeded with the conceptual framework. I would like to mention also here is that we work, when we first started, the first strategy we did was to ensure that this curriculum is acceptable to the dental fraternity. It's different, it's quite different. So what we did was, we prepared, about 3 months later, we prepared the draft curriculum and called all engagement workshop invited from the Ministry of Health, from the Malaysian Dental Council, from the Malaysian Dental Association, and from the universities. And we found that, and at the end of 2-day workshop, they understand what we are going to do, and they also gave us some views, and they supported us. And from that support, when we started, we have other universities also supporting us in the lecture, in giving us the lectures for part-time lectures and so on, including our Prof. Zul, who helped us very much in our initial establishment, particularly in the oral surgery department. And this concentration framework start with, we have to establish this outcome-based education. We started with, we call it competency-based curriculum. But the competency-based curriculum and outcome-based education is somewhat similar. It's easy to migrate from this competency-based to outcome-based education. But what is similar is that both competency-based as well as outcome-based education is that student-centered. That we have to, a student is central to the education, not the teacher. So that is we started with that, and then we look into what are the groups of subjects. There are so many subjects, so we group the subjects into basic science, clinical science. Basic science, you see that there's a very thick one on the left side, and clinical science, the thick on it. So first few years will be very heavy on basic sciences, whereas clinical science not much. But we see also adopt the early patient contact, because during the first year they already have some contact with the people, with the community. And we have the human science. Human science, we call it human science because here is unique in the sense that we also incorporate the behavioral science as well as community dentistry in that human science, because we are dealing with people also. And also memorization of Quranic verses, groups of subject memorization Quranic verses, and fundamental Islamic knowledge. Those are groups of courses. And these are the list of courses from this group: Islamic science, human science, clinical science. We have this introduction to Islamic jurisprudence, introduction to Quranic interpretation, which is different from memorization of Quranic verses. And all these things are in these categories. And for memorization, there are 16 chapters out of 114 chapters. But roughly, they have to memorize roughly about 1/10 of the Quran. Not all, 1/10 of the Quran. And those verses are short verses. Juz Amma, the first year Juz Amma, they have to complete the Juz Amma. So we put that in memorization because it's important that there are certain values in that. We have to mention here that our students are different from students from other universities. Our students are from religious based education, studies, schools, from schools. So they are familiar with this Quranic, and it's easy for them. And for this fundamental Islamic knowledge, they have learned. So it's very, and some Arabic, they understand some Arabic. It's only to enhance the Arabic in the faculty. So it's easy for them. Easy for them to again migrate from secondary school, from Tamili, into the university, and incorporate all those memorization Islamic knowledge. It's very easy. There's advantage. I think other places is very difficult. Without that foundation, very difficult for them to do it. And the second one in our curriculum we started was with the teaching and learning activities. And the main area of teaching and learning activities recently is the blended learning. We have to incorporate the blended learning as well as problem-based learning. Problem-based learning, earlier part we've already incorporated the problem-based learning. Most universities, medical dental faculties in Malaysia, most incorporate this problem-based learning. Some as USM, the curriculum is problem-based learning, integrated problem-based learning. For us, it's part of the subject, a part of a method in teaching and learning. And we have done that, and then we are increasing. In the first place, not many of our teachers understand this problem-based learning. Now they are start to understand, start to implement problem-based learning as part of this program. But there are also other teaching methods. There are so many other teaching methods. We have study tutorials, seminars, clinical section, laboratory, fieldwork, and so on. And but anyway, see, just for your information, is that it's a hybrid of classroom and online learning. That includes some of the conveniences of online learning, online courses, as well as complete without complete loss of face-to-face contact. So we also have to go through internet and so on, in the computers with the Go Center, from the Go Center, as well as they have to participate in classes. And these are the guide learning. We have to fulfill about 30% to this. We made this in all our programs. So that they must have about 30% of the teaching learning method is the blended learning. Thirdly is the student assessment. Student assessment, you can see is formative, summative, another one, reflective. We call this muhasabah. There's another one, they always have to see that how can they do it better. So you see tomorrow in our program, our logbook, our clinical assessment, they have to assess first their work. Then only the lecturer assess their work. Then only they see what is the difference. That's where the muhasabah will come in. So we have to make sure that when they are in the field, they are able to make decisions. They are able to evaluate, even assess the work they do on their patients. And always looking how can do better for their patients. And in student assessment, there are methods, or many other methods of student assessment we put here. In medical dental field in Malaysia, we use the objective structured clinical examination, OSCE we call it, or OSCE. That's common to us here. Which we OSCE or OSCE. OSCE, OSCE or OSCE. That's very common here that we do it. It's not really practical, is it? Because it's sometimes like practical examination. And reflective muhasabah, looking back to be better. These are the things that we get them to do, to look back, to be part of, to be a reflective learner. And ultimately, this is the first part we got it, our curriculum. And how we integrate in Naqli, in our Naqli, all these things are all there. That's what we see. As we have said, we are not really clear when we came to UC also was not, at that time was not clear how to integrate. So we put here everything inside there, memorization, fundamental knowledge, everything there. But later, last year, we came to the decision that there are certain models that need to be implemented. So here's an example of our faculty dentistry. This is a UC model. We decided to have 4 levels, they call it. And these levels are not necessarily sequential, hierarchical. It can be categorical. It can be categorical, not necessarily hierarchical. So we have level 1 is called mustawa is level. So level 1 they call it ayatization, use of verses. There is from Musa has already explained all those sources, Quran, from the Hadith and so on. And then second level, or second mustawa 2 is the comparison. Comparison, or I put in Bahasa Malaysia also there in English. Comparison, or the Arabic, I cannot pronounce very well, but I think it's al-muqarana. I'm sorry, I cannot do that. So the third one is adaptation. That is the process of selecting, filtering, adapting, and using principles, values, and a framework which do not contradict Islam. And fourth level is internalizing all those parts. And for the Mustawa 3, we have 3 parts. These are most important area. We feel that is the most important area. There is one that before they can internalize, they have to go through several processes, several activities. One is to get embedded. One of the things that can be embedded in that. 2 is the assignment projects as well as extramural activities. Just in order so that they can get used to it, to internalize all those values. So maybe we expect that as internalization is very difficult. Maybe we expect after they graduate, then only they can really internalize. Not during that time. During that time, we feel that it's only adaptation. So that is the thing we get. The first one, this bottom one, ayatization. Ayatization, we direct reference Quran and Hadith. What we did, you can use as a set induction. You can use certain ayats as a set induction. You can use certain ayats to emphasize certain points that you do. Certain ayats that you can use to conclude certain things. These are ayats. Thirdly, and then comparison. Where you see certain compare ayats, compare certain things from one group to another. Islam and Islam. What we do in Islam, what we do in other parts. For example, looking conventional knowledge from Islamic perspective. There is examples. What we did here, Maqasid Sharia as guiding principles in the need, care, and shame of learning. We look at that. And as compared to the other types of the conventional type. Ethical principles. They look into what are the ethical principles from Islamic perspective, as well as ethical principles from the usual perspective. Sikh role model and ruksa. The resource allocation, maslaha. We give also example in hospital they use triage. What is the difference in triage and maslaha? Why? You come first, you are the last one to be seen. Others come last, first to be seen. These are things looking at this masalah. Relationship with society and patients. These are examples that we put in incorporate in our teaching learning. It's not part not separated, but within our teaching learning. And the one is adaptation. In adaptation, for our place, we started with 3 basic values that are important to us. One is that trust and responsibility. 2 is timeliness. 3 is cleanliness. Adaptation, the first one, the trust and responsibility. We implement in our place that our instruments in our clinic are there in all stacks. After we sterilize, we put outside there. They can pick any time they want, any instruments they want. But if you go to other universities, they have to go to the NL officer to check. Because we trust them. Students are good. We take from first one, the students are good listeners. So we trust them. We can do it. And that's a part of that exercise part. So that saves time. That's part of that is a beauty of it. That you do that, then it saves a lot of time, a lot of people, resources, and so on. And it's easy, it's efficient. That's the advantage of that. Time cleanliness. Cleanliness is very important because infection control, cross-infection, universal precautions are the most important things in medicine and dentistry. That one you must clean. Ensure that it's very clean. We emphasize on that. So everybody come to our clinic, they come with they don't have to be worried that this is unclean. It's all sterilized, no bacteria, no spores. So Islamic values. These are Islamic values. That only aided patient-centered care and professionalism within that internalization. So these are, and it's implemented. It's done. It's part of it. It's evaluated. Professionalism. This one is in the clinic. We also assess their professionalism in the logbooks, in the assessment. And assignment, give them assignments. Some of the assignments are there, reflections are daily. Every time they go to community project, they always have to write just a short, 1 page is enough reflection. Leadership, class assignments, we talk about leadership in Islam, quality in Islam. And we must have soul there. We have been trying to talk about the soul of the quality. The quality in Islam, patient care, patient safety in Islam, and so on. And this is the big issues in the district, the fasting, smoking, and so on. And the last one is the extramural activities. These are the have to go outside the classroom area. And finally, the internalizing. Extramural activity, management of jidaza. Everybody has to go there, have to do that. Everybody has to know how to slaughter at least chicken. Engage community activities. They must every semester one group has to go. They have to do one community engagement. Consideration of, because we mentioned just now that relationship with society. So they have to doing that. They have to give them opportunities to have relationship with society. And in consideration of environmental issues, cleaning of beaches and so on. This is Ukwa, and also you'll be surprised they're also involved in cultural activities. They sing, they dance. Also, before I came here, before I came here, I was quite surprised. So they were dancing also, dancing that traditional dance. Traditional dance. I was quite surprised. They sing. I thought no singing. No singing, no dancing. No traditional dance. Okay. But really separated. An example of implementation. So after this, we look into in some of the examples of implementation. This is a quotation. This quotation is from Islamic quotation. So you always must see our objective in mind. We are always down here, we are looking at the end in mind. So this is an example. It's a bit small, but you go to the faculty tomorrow, you can see our course outline. You can see our course outline. And from here, from this outline, you already included Islamic. Is it? Dentists need to be able to discern and deal with ethical issues on Islamic and conduct, ethical issues and conduct themselves in a professional manner within the confines of Islamic conduct and mannerisms. So in our rationale is there. The other one, there's several aspects. The last one we have there. This course provides the essential knowledge, skills, and attitude in this relationship with patients and society in the context of Islamic worldview. So in the course outline is already incorporated the element of Islamic element of it to ensure the integration, the teaching and learning will be incorporated, will be implemented. And rationale of the course. We put a rationale and we are it does not have to be so many, but we all need to conduct themselves in a professional manner and within the confines of the conduct mannerisms. And the other one is rational principle and professionalism and Islamic principles. We are looking at both also. Okay, learning outcome, we get on learning outcome. We look into this. We also have learning outcome with the Islamic perspective of it. And we look into the Bloom's taxonomy of whether it is facts, understanding this application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. And the mapping. We also map the Naqli and Aqli. For example, we map the course and we map the content. Looking into level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. To what extent is it implemented? Because if we do not map this, then we don't know how the implementation is. And some of the, we also test them. Questions. Some questions. World Health Organization, its constitution defines how the complete mental, physical, and social well-being and not merely absence of disease or infirmity. Comment individual based on scientific perspective. So you have to understand that nobody, utopia, complete medical, who can be complete? It's all about what is complete. And there is, you can see that there is no spiritual there. It is not complete. We compare Hippocratic Oath and Muslim Oath of Doctors. The original Hippocratic Oath is different, very different. You go for some other things. And describe ethical principle dentistry and relate them according to Islamic values. Okay, Sikro. What is Sikro? Compare Sikro with Ruksah. Give examples. Then you are posted to the clinic as office in charge. However, you are faced with limited resources in provision of health care to solve all health problems in the community. Describe the location of available resources. How can concept must be applied in this scenario? So these are things we already incorporate. These questions we teach them because we are comparing also during the course. And compare concept must application triage to prioritize patient care. Describe concept patient care. how you implement patient-centered care in the clinic, taking into consideration science values, relationship between dentist and patient. So there are things. And what we emphasize here is that this is the usage model. This model we have shown that it can be incorporated, the middle, the red part. The red part is the teaching learning. We showed how we implemented it. But you can also use it for research. For example, research is for mustawa level, ayatization. We have to look into the Quran, the Hadith. We have to mine those ayats. Looking at ideas, problems for research. The start. And comparison. We can use literature review to compare that. Then this the third one, mustawa, the third mustawa, adaptation. We look at the methodology, how to go about it, how to solve those problems. And then mustawa 4 is the internalizing, is this implementation of this what do you call that, you convert those research into policies, into what they call patterns and so on. I forgot the term. We use that to convert that.
Transmission and research.
And the conclusion. Basically, what we showed here is that it's only the basic sequence of curriculum development. You can use some other things, but it's a way again. But basically, the basic thing is that you have to know where you're going. You have to look into your principle. Determine your own principles, what you want, and try to put in that principles to sort in the model that we have, the 4 levels. And then this is the model of that we have. We are lucky that last year, because you have said this now, when we started, we were grouping, we all put together. But once we have this model of Aqli, but you see last year, then we could categorize those, what we have done. So we are very clear now of what we are doing. And then we have to begin with the clear part of application Aqli knowledge. And it's only a beginning. It needs further consolidation. But as I said just now, the greatest challenge is not to lose sight of the essential principles of Naqli and Aqli. So with that, thank you very much.
Most of the things said in this lecture, for an Islamic state like Malaysia, I think it is very easy. Earlier on, we are talking about character training and how we can marry or bring back character training into the educational system. And I think here you have started. In my country, it might be a bit difficult applying some of the principles here, but I believe that some of the principles mentioned here are of general applicability. When we talk about principle 2, to produce good person, I think that is general to all professions. In my own profession as a teacher, I think it's very, very applicable as the mother of all professions to produce intellectuals who are emotionally balanced, spiritually balanced, physically balanced, and socially balanced. I think it's applicable to all professions. In Nigeria, if you look at the attributes of your graduates, I believe that they are also applicable. The last one might present some problem. The moment you talk of upholding principles of oneness of Allah, you might just find, people might just look at you as a Boko Haram. So you have to be, we may have to tread softly on that part. But all the others, about 10 of them here, 9 or 10 are applicable to all professions. And I believe we should be thinking that direction too, somehow in Nigeria, because we seem to have divorced character training from education. Not deliberately, but maybe through the influence of Western culture. When we send children out to other countries, they come back with the culture ideas from those various countries. And it's so difficult to make them change those ideas. And they tend to influence those at home. So I think we can begin to look at how we can bring back character training into the school curriculum. On our part at the University of Ilorin, we enforce dress code. That is, we make sure, or we try to make sure that our students dress properly, at least while on the campus. But I think we can still go further about character training, particularly in various professions, teachers, doctors, whatever you are, accountants, and so on, bankers. We should make sure that they bring character into the profession. And I think we can work that out somehow. Thank you very much.
It's only putting it, implementing it in your place according to your mom. That's the thing.
I believe preventive and promotional health will be more quote-unquote Islamic in a particular sense, because cleanliness and hygiene, you already master it at a very initial level, that you minimize the need for curative. Any comment?
Teaching about public health. The basic principles of public health is that Prophet says that if you are with a disease, a plant, the area is a plague, don't go there. You are inside, don't go out. That's part principles of basic principle of public health. Washing hands, you are saying that, very principles of public health. And these are things we are also, when we're talking about preventive and so on, it's already incorporated inside that. These are what we are looking at, not only one subject, we are working on towards, not all, of course now not all implemented, but they are slowly recognizing the need to incorporate to all other subjects. But as I said, it's only the beginning. But I'm sure the future is bright.